It's important, I suppose, that this is an experiential product. And now this isn't one of the questions we talked about, but it just popped to my mind, Bert. I hope you don't mind answering this one. So, I mentioned before about nanotechnology. You can use that term, but you could be down to, correct me if I'm wrong, if I got down to 200 nanometers, I'm still a nanotechnology product. But if I'm down to 10 nanometers, under 20, you can penetrate the blood-brain barrier. Under 10, you can do all sorts of things. There is a difference in nano depending on how small you get. Would I be correct?
Yes, and anything that's in nanotechnology, somebody will say, well, we're dealing in nanotechnology. That's anything less than 100 nanometers. The body itself will deal with particles larger than that. But again, it comes back down to the surface area side of things. And the difference between a 100 nanometer particle and a 10 nanometer particle are twofold. One is that in some cases, they're more easily absorbed. And the more important is that they are much more bioavailable because of the surface area. It isn't just a 10 to 1, it's an exponential number. So being down to 200 nanometers is not a bad deal, but being down at 10 is a much better deal. So it's comparatives.
That's fantastic. That might explain something, actually, because the previous company I was talking about with liposomals never used the word nanotechnology. So they were just talking about liposomals. So maybe they were way bigger than we're talking about, and hence the result difference was quite dramatic. So with that in mind, we have an amazing skin product. And I know I was involved before we even had the skin product. So, I saw where people started spraying it and spraying the ingestible and getting results. And that led us down the path of creating a skin product. Some people, I'll preface this question before I ask the Bert, some people just spray in a humid climate like in the Sunshine Coast and never use a moisturizer and never need one because it's saying, oh my God, my skin's so plump, I don't need it. In some drier climates, some people do use a moisturizer as well. So there is not one size fits all because it depends. The hyaluronic acid does attract moisture from the air. Having said that, the question is, will Neumi ever be coming out with a dedicated moisturizer?
I don't think we ever reject anything out of hand. That's one of the fun things that we do here, is that people will ask us if we're going to try this or try that. I don't see doing a moisturizer right away. A moisturizer, as we know it in the cosmetic industry right now, is basically an overcoat. Its job is to soften the very outside layer of the skin by using the liquid, the water portion of the moisturizer, to soften those cells, and then to seal from the outside that moisture. It keeps the moisture in, it keeps the dryness out. It's like a piece of saran wrap on your skin. Well, not most of them smell better and you can rub them in a little better. But the whole concept is that that is a surface product. Our product, I don't think, is a surface product. I think we've got some pretty good absorption in it. And so seeing us go to a moisturizer, I don't see that happening in-house. I can give you a personal side of it, and that's what my wife has used the skin formula. I've actually been involved with skin formulas for 15 years. And she will spray it on, let it dry, and then she still adds a moisturizer. We live in Utah, which is a desert. And so she feels like she needs that side of things. But like you said, there are some that don't need it, some that do. I don't see us coming out with a moisturizer, but I'm never going to suggest that we don't have all our products.
No, that's beautiful. And I suppose, guys, just from a field perspective, this is the first time for me with a network marketing company where I've been privy enough to be seer behind the curtain, and you guys do too, because it's transparent, and see how much work's involved in creating, launching a new country. It's not as simple as, let's switch on the flag. Getting a new country requires a lot more than that behind the scenes, and getting new products as well. And I think, and when I think about it, even though I know most people I know don't use a moisturizer with their product, but some do, I'd rather Bert put his attention and creativity into something that's going to be a world beater in another part of the market to open up a whole other market than just, covering off those that do need the moisturizer. But long term, maybe we'll get one, who knows? That'd be interesting to see. Now, on the same note of the skin product, this is an interesting question, right? So one individual from their, what do they say? Their perspective of the world, what they are seeing with their personal family members, not a macro level like we can with the amount of members in the group. they've said some of their members in the Philippines are seeing immediate results and some do not with the skin product. Does the type of skin with certain nationalities mean that there needs to be a stronger product for different races? Now, before you answer that, Bert, let me point out that we have people who are African-American skin going, bang, instant results. They are Filipinos, they're Australians. I was always this white. So we're clear, right? I might have smoother skin, but I was always pale, got pommy parents. So what's your perspective about that? Do we need a special product for a specific market?
You know, that's a great question. I have not seen that. I mean, we've been doing this for a while, and I've not seen a situation where we have a particular skin type that has, or at least a racial skin type that's had that kind of issue. We've had issues with some that have oilier skin, some that have drier skin, but not from a geographical place. I have not seen it, so I don't know what to tell you. That's what I don't know.
Fantastic. Well, that's honest. And can I just say too, guys, this is interesting because, you know, how long, sometimes people say, how long does it take to get a result? For me, and I say this to everyone, so I don't mind saying it recording, you know, as they say in your household, there is toilet paper scrunches and toilet paper folders, and one lasts longer than the other. So how long does a piece of toilet paper last? How long does a spray last? Well, there is misters, there is sprayers, and then there's me, super soakers. Liz is always going, stop using so much of that stuff because I'm obsessed with it, right? So I got a better result than somebody who's just going to go mist a couple of times, right? And so I suppose the more you use the product, the better the result potentially. But the other angle I want to come at, I've seen it myself, where a family member who walked every day, he's passed away, bless him, but he was in his 80s. He walked every day in the sun with a hat on, but he had sunspots everywhere. We sprayed his face, and within 30 minutes, you could see a result. It's like, wow, look at his skin. But it was really, really ruddy and bad skin. So maybe, depending on not even your personality, your racial profile, maybe your skin is somewhat okay, and the next person's skin is really bad, and as a result, they might see quicker results there. Who knows? I suppose that's just a blanket statement. Now, next question is, where does the L-cysteine come from for the swish?
The benefit that we have is that we have a chance to buy the very best raw materials because we use so little in our products. Our L-cysteine, one of the questions that people are asking are L-cysteine, L-glutathione, our collagen. All of them are very reagent grade raw materials. Our L-cysteine comes from a vegetarian fermentation. So it's vegan, it's halal certified, it's kosher certified. Our glutathione is the same. It comes from a yeast product, so it is not unnatural. It's vegan again, halal and kosher. There are a number of different places you can get different types of products. Both our major products are derived from vegetable sources, not animal sources.
Okay, brilliant. Well, that leads to another question further down, which I'm just going to reiterate as well, because someone said, where's the glutathione derived from? I heard fish scales. Now, I know that's not correct. That fish scales is the collagen, correct?
The collagen.
Glutathione? Yeah, glutathione. Where does that actually come?
The glutathione's from a yeast product that gets fermented. I certainly think that that's something, if we were ever notice or ever to find what all the steps are, it would scare us all. But in both cases, those two, the cysteine and the glutathione, come from internationally known chemistry manufacturers. So both of those are vegan. On the collagen side, we actually use fish skin, not fish scales. The fish skin has a stronger collagen, has a richer collagen, but that's where you may have found the fish scales, was a collagen comment.
Yeah, right. Interesting. Funny you say that, because I said to somebody once who was saying they were vegan, I've gone, well, I'm sure they pluck each fish scale off nicely, then pat it and let it swim away, but obviously not. Now, by the way, some people are typing in things like, oh, is all of this written down somewhere? I just want to reiterate for those who got in late. This is not designed for you to write it down to know, because if you do, you'll slow the growth of your business down. This is designed for you to have a recording that you can then send out to people. So you do not need to be the information source and be a Bert, but you can play it back later, absolutely later. So let me go back to the questions because I jumped ahead one. Does the temperature of the product stored have an impact on its shelf life?
Generally, an unopened bottle, the temperature is pretty innocuous. It probably doesn't make a huge difference. Once you do open a product, I think it has all of the issues with having broken the seal. You probably have some issues with the higher temperatures beginning to degrade the product. And when I'm talking about higher temperatures, it would be temperatures that would be over 105, 110 Fahrenheit that would start to degrade that kind of a product.
Okay, interesting. So, by the way, I can say, guys, I know some people have had a product on the shelf in a warm country now for a number of years, opened the product and had no issues with it, which is interesting. So there's a question here, which is interesting because I can vouch that I am probably the biggest crash test dummy. So I want to say before I say this, our products are not designed to treat, cure, prevent any disease. They should only be used as they say on the label. I remember ringing Steve one day and saying, hey, I've been spraying stuff in my eyes. He's like, don't do that. Right? He said, there's no reason it's going to be bad, but it's not, you don't want to duplicate that in the field, because what if someone had some unique scenario or whatever? So the question is, can Neumi skin be sprayed in the eyes, not over like we do?
I think that the answer to that is that the eye's natural pH is about a 7. It's neutral. And our products are someplace between 4 and 5 pH. So it's a little more acidic. As far as we know, there's been no indication that there's an issue with getting it in your eye if you're spraying wildly. I don't think I would stand there and open my eyelid and spray it dramatically in my eye, but certainly any overspray would have no problem at all.
Yep. Well, I'm a living, breathing example of a super soaker that does that, but I don't spray it in the eyes on purpose anymore. And so always use the product as instructed on the label. There's my legal out for that one. Now, on the legal outs, one thing as members, we're not allowed to use any disease name in any social media post in a Neumi group, in a group loosely connected to Neumi in any way. We can't affiliate our product with any disease words or medical conditions, full stop. Otherwise, you can get your account suspended, you can get us shut down. So we really want to keep Neumi around for a long, long, long time. Having said that, someone typed a question, and I already know what answer you're going to give, but I want to say, justify them with a question. This person said, my doctors advised me to continue with Swish through my radiotherapy. I know it's a touchy subject. Can Bert give me his thoughts on this?
Well, first of all, we're not a medical company. Secondly of all, we don't give medical advice. And thirdly, did I tell you we're not a medical company? No, the reality of that, I think there is something to be said. And that's that if any of us have any kind of medical issue, whether it's our products or any other supplement on the marketplace, it's not a bad idea to be able to have an opportunity to talk with your treating physician and say, this is what I want to do. This is what I'm thinking of. Are there any contraindications of any sort? That's, I think, a must. I think if a doctor gives you advice one way or the other, I think that you need to at least listen because he's a paid professional. I think you need to get a feeling for yourself after he's made that comment or he or she's made that comment. But I do think that as we look at what we do, we would be really strangled if we said, oh, just ignore your doctor. I mean, that's crazy because this isn't medical. We aren't healers of the medical art.